So hey, welcome back to the 10-10 movement, where we're all about taking areas of your life where you may be struggling and turning that into success. In other words, moving more to living a 10 out of 10 life experience. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. What have human beings and kettles got in common? Well, more than you might think. So, I'm going to explain to you what human beings and kettles have got in common and how we can utilise what we have in common to move our life more towards living that 10 out of 10 experience. So, in the 1920s, an incredible lady called Florence Scovel Shinn wrote a very early, what I would call, personal development book. Now, you can get this book for free on the old internet today. It's called The Game of Life. Now, Florence wrote many, many books, but The Game of Life is only about 100 pages, and you can actually read it in a few hours. I remember once going in the bath, starting to read this book, and I was glued there to keep turning the old hot tap on because the water was going cold. And I actually finished. I went a bit wrinkly on the fingers like you do. But actually that book was very life-changing for me. So I encourage you to search out the book called The Game of Life. And Florence Scovel Shinn is the authoress. And in there she makes this metaphor. She describes as a metaphor the similarity between a kettle and a human. Now, remember, this book was written in the 1920s, so it's almost 100 years old, but it's as applicable today as it was when she first put the pen to paper. Now, what she said about the kettle was that when you put the kettle on, eventually the water starts to boil. Of course, we all know that, that's obvious. Now, out of the spout, as it's known, comes steam. Now, if you put your hand in the steam, what is going to happen? Well, the thing is that the steam is hotter than the boiling water that's in the kettle. So the truth is, you are going to burn yourself. Now, it's this very self-same steam that in the 1800s, once it was controlled, so think of it, as it comes out the kettle, it's just going everywhere, isn't it? It's sort of out of control. But once humans learn to take the power of the steam and contain it and control it, that changed the whole world. It itself created the Industrial Revolution, which without it, we wouldn't be here today. We're in the middle of the technological revolution, you could call it. Now, what has all that got to do with humans? Well, the metaphor she used is that when that steam is out of control, it's extremely dangerous to the point where it's going to burn us. But once contained, it's very powerful. And she says that our unconscious mind, this part of us that actually is making us operate for the most part, is like the steam. It's out of control. And when it's out of control, it is dangerous. We are dangerous creatures when we have got our unconscious mind out of control. And when it's out of control, we are very, very, what I call reactive. We're very reactive. Something happens outside of ourselves, either a situation or a circumstance happens, or somebody says something, or somebody does something, and in a millisecond, we're there with some sort of reaction. Now, your reaction, very interestingly, is almost always the same. So, for example, if you're a person that gets angry, when anything happens outside of you that's not good, your reaction's likely to be an angry one. If you're someone that feels guilty, your reaction's likely to be a guilty one. So just think about it for a moment. What is your response to somebody doing something or something happening outside of yourself? Now, that is all driven by the unconscious part of you. And it's this part of us that creates wars, for example. Now, it could be a war in a relationship, two people digging their heels in, start fighting, disconnecting, all that sort of stuff. That's two people. Could be neighbours. You know, somebody does something you don't like, boom, off goes your reaction, just like that out of control steam. Now, the most magical thing about this is imagine containing that power that we have in it, but not using it in a negative, reactive way, but to stand in a powerful way and see the world with different eyes. But look, you will do if you manage to do it, of course, yeah? Now, this is something that is a journey. It's something that's easy to say, not so simple to do, as I always put it. Now, if you just get the philosophy or the principle of the metaphor, you're already halfway there. The next thing is to become aware the next time you get reactive. How long does it take you to get reactive, and what is your reaction? Now you're becoming aware. Now we need to become super aware. The next step is super awareness. So if it was the hurdles, if you were in the 100-meter hurdles, the first hurdle will be to become aware that you are reactive and how you react. What's your behavior once something happens outside of you? Is it anxiety? Is it worry? Is it doubt? Do you get depressed? Do you get upset? Do you get angry? What do you do? Just notice what you do. You're over the first hurdle then. Now the next thing is to accept. The second hurdle's got acceptance written on it. And what we need to do is accept that we are doing the reaction. The person didn't come along and inject us with anger. We reacted with anger. So that's what Florence meant. It's like an unconscious response to something outside of us happening. And when we're in that state, we are out of control. So to get a better experience of your life, what we have to do is we have to learn to contain that. Just like the steam was contained and created a revolution, when you can control your unconscious, trust me, your whole being will go through. I'm not going to call it a revolution. I'm going to call it a revelation. You are going to have a revelation about life and how you see, perceive, and live and experience your life. So that's it. That is it. It's like, that is the metaphor. How can we contain the power of our own personal energy? And once you can do that, everything in your life will change for the better. So if this is your first time to the 1010 movement and the 1010 channel, a huge hugging welcome. We're back to hugging now. So a big welcome. If it's your first time here, please do hit the subscription button and the old notification bell, because every time we put a video up, you'll get notified there's a new one there. Also, if you have been back, you're coming back again, big thank you. Do feel free to press the share button as well. Share these videos with your friends. How powerful would it be to somebody who traditionally maybe goes to anger as their response, to learn that, hold on a minute, we could contain that power and have a new and totally different experience. So that's it for this week on the 1010 movement. From myself, Tony V, I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.